Have you ever wondered what would happen if you combined the mysterious power of a Ouija board with an ancient mirror ritual? Well, tonight's story will make you think twice about trying such dangerous spiritual experiments. This tale of terror will show you why some doors to the other side should remain forever closed. Sarah Martinez always considered herself a skeptic. Growing up in a small town where everyone believed in superstitions and old wives' tales, she prided herself on being the voice of reason. But after what happened that fateful night in October, she would never doubt the existence of evil again. It started with an innocent conversation during her weekly video call with her best friend Emma, who had moved to Boston for college. They were discussing their plans for Halloween when Emma mentioned a ritual she'd found on an obscure occult forum. "It's called the mirror convergence," Emma explained, her face illuminated by her laptop screen. "You combine a Ouija board with an antique mirror at exactly 3:33 a.m. Supposedly, it creates a gateway that allows spirits to manifest physically in our world." Sarah rolled her eyes. "You know those things are just parlor tricks, right?" "That's what I thought too," Emma replied, her voice dropping to a whisper. "But the forum had these incredibly detailed accounts, and there were photos. Sarah, I've never seen anything like them." Something in Emma's tone made Sarah's skin prickle. Her friend wasn't usually one for supernatural nonsense either. "The thing is," Emma continued, "I want to try it, but I'm too scared to do it alone. Would you maybe do it with me? We could set up our mirrors at the same time and connect through video chat." Sarah should have said no. Every rational part of her brain screamed at her to refuse, but curiosity, that deadly human flaw, got the better of her. "Fine," she sighed. "But when nothing happens, you owe me a coffee." Emma's face lit up. "Perfect. I'll send you the instructions. We need to do it this Friday. It has to be during a waning moon." The next few days passed in a blur of preparation. Sarah found an ornate Victorian mirror at a local antique shop, its silver-plated frame decorated with intricate roses and thorny vines. The elderly shop owner had given her an odd look when she purchased it, mumbling something about bad energy under her breath. Sarah had also dug out her grandmother's Ouija board from the attic, a weathered wooden piece that still smelled faintly of sage and beeswax. Friday night arrived with an unseasonable chill. Sarah set up her laptop on her dresser, positioning the mirror behind it so Emma could see both her and the reflection. The Ouija board sat on a small table in front of the mirror, its planchette waiting expectantly. At 3:15 a.m., Emma called. Her face appeared on screen, pale and nervous in the glow of candlelight. "Ready?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. Sarah nodded, trying to ignore the growing sense of unease in her stomach. They reviewed the ritual instructions one last time. Place the mirror in a north-facing position. Set up the Ouija board directly in front of the mirror. Light 3 black candles in a triangle formation. At exactly 3:33 a.m., both participants must place their fingers on the planchette. Recite the incantation 3 times. "Through mirror and board we seek the void. Open the gate between worlds. Let the spirits cross." Do not break contact with the planchette until the ritual is complete. Most importantly, do not look directly into the mirror while communicating with spirits. As the clock on Sarah's phone ticked toward 3:33, an odd heaviness settled over the room, The air felt thick, almost syrupy, and the shadows in the corners seemed to pulse with a life of their own. "It's time," Emma whispered. They placed their fingers on their respective planchettes and began the incantation. Sarah's voice sounded foreign to her own ears as she chanted the words. On the third repetition, the candles flickered violently, though there was no breeze. The planchette began to move. "I'm not moving it," Sarah said quickly, her heart racing. "Me neither," Emma replied, her eyes wide with fear. They watched in horror as the planchette glided smoothly across the board, spelling out a message, WESEEYOU. Sarah's blood ran cold. In the mirror's reflection, she could have sworn she saw something shift behind her, a darker patch of shadow that seemed to writhe and twist. "Emma," she whispered, "I think we should stop." But the planchette was moving again. DONTLOOKBEHINDYOU. A scream erupted from her laptop speakers. On screen, Emma's face had gone chalk white. "Sarah, there's something in my room. Oh God, it's coming out of the mirror." The video feed began to break up, Emma's terrified face dissolving into static. Sarah could still hear her screaming, the sound becoming more distorted with each second. "Emma! Emma!" Sarah shouted, but the connection had been lost. The temperature in her room plummeted. Frost began creeping across the mirror's surface, forming intricate patterns that looked unsettlingly like faces in agony. The planchette moved again, faster now, almost violent in its movements. TOOLATE. Sarah wanted to run, but her fingers felt fused to the planchette. The shadows behind her had taken on a more solid form. She could see them in the mirror's reflection, reaching toward her with long, spindly fingers. And then she made her fatal mistake. Despite the warning, despite every instinct screaming at her not to, she looked directly into the mirror. What she saw in that moment would haunt her until her dying day. The reflection showed not her room, but a vast, dark dimension that seemed to stretch infinitely. Countless faces pressed against the glass from the other side. Twisted, horrific visages that were barely human. And among them, she saw Emma, her features contorted in eternal agony, her mouth open in a silent scream. The faces began pushing through the mirror's surface, the glass rippling like water. Cold, corpse-like hands reached for her, their touch burning like ice where they made contact with her skin. Sarah tried to scream, but no sound came out. The darkness was pulling her toward the mirror, toward that terrible other place where Emma was trapped. The last thing Sarah saw before the darkness took her was her own reflection, her face transforming into something inhuman as she was dragged through the glass. 3 days later, Sarah's parents would find her room empty, frost coating every surface despite the warm October weather. The mirror and Ouija board were gone, leaving only a black scorch mark on the floor where they had been. Her laptop showed no record of any video call with Emma that night. In Boston, Emma's roommate reported her missing the same morning. The only clue to her disappearance was her antique mirror, its surface completely black, as if it had been painted with liquid darkness. To this day, if you visit certain antique shops in small towns, you might come across mirrors with ornate rose and thorn frames, and if you look closely enough, in the right light, you might catch a glimpse of 2 young women, their faces pressed against the glass, silently warning you to stay away. But whatever you do, never combine a mirror with a Ouija board at 3:33 a.m. Some doors, once opened, can never be closed again. Fellow seekers of darkness, you've just experienced another haunting tale from Unholy Tales. If this story of mirror rituals and dimensional horrors kept you awake, remember, your fear feeds our channel. Join our unholy family by hitting that subscribe button and ringing the death bell to be notified whenever we upload new nightmares. Want more ritual horror? Leave a comment below sharing which dark ritual you'd like me to explore next, but be warned, some of our viewers have reported strange occurrences after engaging with these videos at 3:33 a.m. Mirrors in their homes mysteriously turning black, unexplained whispers in the dark, and shadows that move against the laws of light. This is Unholy Tales, where every story opens a door to something darker. Sweet dreams, if you dare to sleep tonight. Join us next week for another journey into the abyss.